Hello everyone and welcome back to the 2025 HTML and CSS tutorial. In this episode I'm gonna be covering images. So yeah, I'm gonna be showing you how to insert images to a website, and I will be showing different attributes and styling methods. So yeah, let's get into it. So, first of all, we are going to need a couple of images to work with. I am here in my folder and I do have a couple of images, and I'm going to pull them up from another folder and I'm gonna move them into this one, so you can just drag them to Visual Studio Code. There we go. I got a background image, a beautiful background image, and Marge Simpson. Alright, so these are the images we're gonna be working with. Let's make an H1 heading that says images in HTML and H1 styling them with CSS. Okay, so we have the CSS linked in, so we can style the images, but first we are going to need the image itself. So this is not going to be too difficult. We are going to need a new tag though, and that's gonna be img, which stands for image. The image needs a source attribute, src, source. Now my images, they have a relative source because they are right next to my index.html file. So we can type in march-simpson.avif. Make sure to get the file extension correct. Otherwise it is not going to work. Then let's set the width to equal 200, and if you only set the width or the height, the image is going to keep its shape. However, if I set the height to be, let's say, 200 as well, then in that case the image is going to lose its original dimensions. So yeah, you can just say width or height equals and then the value you want. I'm gonna go with width 200, and my image doesn't change the what is it called? My image doesn't lose the shape. Alright. Then images can also have class attributes. I'm gonna say March image. They can have IDs. ID is used in JavaScript. It can also be used in CSS. I'm gonna put March image. Alright, and then one more important one is gonna be alternative. So for people who are visually impaired and people who are using a screen reader, they are going to need this alternative text. So I'm gonna write a picture of Marge Simpson on a sunny day and then a bracket. So yeah, the image element does not have a closing element. Alright, anyways, the alternative attribute is one of the important ones because this is used by many people who use screen readers, and yeah, for one reason or another. So by default you should always add an alternative text attribute to your images. For example, another thing is that if I misspell my image or my image cannot be found for some reason, like this, then we will at least get the text from the image, and we will get the alternative text, a picture of Marge Simpson on a sunny day. So yeah, the alt attribute is very useful. Anyways, I'm gonna leave this as it is. Okay. Alright, we have a class March image over here. So let's apply some CSS. So I'm gonna select a class with a dot March-image. And let's say that the width is gonna be 150 pixels and height is going to be 150 pixels as well. Now that's going to make my image lose the shape. Anyways, that's okay for now. Then I'm gonna make the image a circle. So border dash radius colon 50%. Now the image is a circle. So by setting the border radius to 50% or half of the pixels or other unit of measurement you're using on the width and height properties, you can make the image circular. So yeah, let's add a border. Let's say 2 pixels solid black, and display block, and let's add some margin 20 pixels auto. Now this will center the image. So yeah, the image is originally an inline block element, and basically that means that the element only takes as much space as it needs. Let me actually show you that. I'm gonna go and open Google Chrome. Alright, and I'm gonna right click, click inspect, and then I'm gonna go and select this tool. So currently the image is taking up the entire width of the browser, and that means that it's a block level element. And we said display block over here. However, if we don't say this, if we remove this line of code, and images are inline block level elements by originally, so then it's going to be looking like, well, first of all, the image is not centered anymore, and secondly, the image is gonna be looking like this. So instead of taking up the entire width of the website, it will only take as much space as it needs to. Now when we get deeper and deeper in CSS, these two different display styles will have a lot of impact on the way we design the websites. But for now, two things. So for now, inline block only takes as much space as needed, and block level element takes up the entire width of the viewport, which means the website, basically. So if you can remember these, then we are good to go. And don't worry, we'll have a lot of practice in the future. Alright, let's go, and I'm gonna show you another example. And by the way, I'm gonna put the display block back over here. So right now our march should be in the center. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna put these side by side because I wanna be using the console or the dev tools every now and then, so yeah. Anyways, there we go. Now I can also increase the margin, so this basically means top and bottom. This means left and right. So top and bottom 20 pixels of margin, and right and left is set to auto. So what that essentially means is that we can click the element, then we can go to the computed tab over here, and you can see that outside of the border there's 20 pixels of margin on the top and bottom, and then the right and the left are set to auto. So margin is space outside of the element and padding is space inside of the element. Let's say padding 20 pixels. Now it's gonna be looking like that. So in this case it made the element smaller because the element is actually wrapped up in the margins. So yeah. Alright. So I'm gonna remove that. Alright. Okay, next I'm gonna be showing you another feature of images. I'm gonna turn this into a comment, so we're not using these styles. So I'm gonna add an anchor tag around the image. So basically that means that this image is going to be turned into a link or a hyperlink. I'm gonna set the href attribute to, let's say, https www.google.com, and then there we go. Okay, so now the image is wrapped inside of the anchor tags. And by the way, that shouldn't be there. It should be... yeah. It shouldn't be anywhere. Actually, what am I doing? Of course, it should be. Just like this. Sorry. Alright. So, now the image is a clickable link. And it takes us to Google. Let's set the target attribute. So target equals underscore blank. That's going to make the link open in a new tab. And there we go. And for some reason the dev tools opened as well. That's okay. Anyways. Okay, this time they didn't open. Alright, but the tab is working. So... there we go. Let's say I'm gonna add an H3 heading and say March will take you to Google. Alright, let's add some styling to these. So we can select the elements by the element name. So let's say H1 text align center, color is gonna be I don't know, maybe I'm gonna keep it like that. I'm gonna add font size is gonna be 3em. This means basically 300%. Then I gotta select this line, which is an H3 heading, text align, center, and font size 2em. Alright, so there we go. Then I'm gonna take the image, which was march-image. Display will be block and margin 0 auto. So instead of 20 pixels on the top and bottom, there's 0 pixels. So yeah. And there we go. March will take us to Google now. So yeah, this is a very common way to center an image or a div element or something like that. We haven't really discussed div elements yet, but we will. Alright. Anyways, I have yet another image, or it's actually not an image, it's a GIF. So we can also insert GIFs. I'm gonna drag the file. There we go. Prank by Homer.gif. Alright, let's go ahead and put it to the website. So let's say img, and the source is going to be prank by Homer.gif. Now, by the way, you can see on the website when we don't have any alternative text set, there's not gonna be anything on here. But when we set some alternative text, like Homer doing a prank on March, now we at least have the text. Alright, I'm gonna make the width be 150, 200, I'm gonna go with the same size. Let's add a class of Homer GIF and ID Homer GIF. Alright, and then just take the file name and extension correctly. There we go. Alright, so what if I want to move the image? Well, we have the class, so I'm gonna use the dot Homer dash prank, no, Homer GIF. There we go. So remember, dot selects a class, hashtag selects an ID. In CSS we can use whichever we want to. Anyways, first I'm gonna make this image a block level element, and then I'm going to center it. There we go. Or actually this is not an image, it's a GIF. Alright, now those two images are kind of close to each other. I'm gonna add some margin of 50 pixels. And that means that it will be adding margin to all sides. Now we don't want that in this case because the image needs to be in the center. So we already have a margin line, so instead we are going to set the margin over here. So yeah, the order is this: top, left, bottom, right, or top and bottom, right and left when you set the margins. So if I say 20 pixels auto, let's say 50 pixels auto, That means 50 pixels on the top and bottom, and then the margin is gonna be auto assigned on the right and the left sides. Alright, and this GIF is not a hyperlink because we haven't surrounded it with any anchor tags. Okay, anyways, that's an introduction to images in HTML and CSS and also the styling of them. Don't worry, we will have a lot of practice with this in the future, and yeah, I hope you were able to learn something new from this one. And yep, see you in the future. Bye bye and have a wonderful day.